a whack fuck.
Hey, this is.
Got him.
All right, this is Geek Public Radio right here on Geek Public Radio. What is up, everybody? How the hell are you doing?
Hopefully everybody's doing great. I'm doing fantastic.
I
looking
am
forward to
still
today's show.
riding a
High.
a ADD hyperfixation bout.
Yeah, our boy over there has been pie crazy. And
Yeah.
it's kind of insane. So
what we're going to be talking about tonight, for the next hour, we're going to be talking about toxic masculinity in gaming. We're going to be talking about me being pie crazy,
and then our esports sports.
Yeah, our esports sports.
I read an article today, and it's still being discussed, and it's super irritating. So we're gonna talk about it. All right, we'll be right back.
You're listening to the GPR podcast, where two old guys, talk about new games, movies, most things geeky, and generally be old in front of your eyes. Not cool. Now, here's Topher and Crazy Chris, being all old.
All right. So, us being old.
It is a thing, and apparently it is such a thing that I've got my volume up a little too high. There we go. All right. Apparently, I'm just gonna jump in because we're just gonna get right into it. I hope everybody's doing great. Before we get too terribly deep, make sure you guys click the like button down below and ring the lingy dingy, that notification belly button, so that you guys know that we are about to go live, and you guys can tune in and join all the excitement. So, a couple of things here. Evan, what's going on, buddy? Evan's already in the chat room talking to us, man. It's nice to see you, bub. What's
up?
I want to get a quick shout out of the way. Sean Smith, thank you, buddy. Seriously, from the bottom of my heart, you have been one of our biggest supporters. He actually had sent us a message and let us know that we are the voices that he listens to every night when he goes to sleep. He throws on our pod. And while I take exception to the fact that we're boring, right? I understand that with him, it's and as he explained, it's more of a comfort thing. So that being able to hear and review geek news actually puts him into a sensitive or a secure state where he can actually fall asleep. So big shout out to Mr. Sean Smith. We really do appreciate you sticking with us every single episode, man. Thank you very much. For those of you new here, make sure you go to geekpublicradio.com. Consider becoming a member so you guys can be part of the action, get the backstage access, see all the cool stuff that we do behind the scenes, all the crazy antics and different things that we have to offer over there. Memberships are not that expensive. Memberships actually get you access to quite a bevy of things. So make sure you guys consider that. But without further ado, I gotta bring it up, man, because it's chapping my ass. It's making me irritated. It's the age-old question, age-old as in this age. Are esports sports? And I want to bring it up using an article that I read. And I actually have the article pulled up right here so I can reference it specifically. That and because I like to call people out by name. That is something that I enjoy doing. So let's talk about an article that was posted by The Week. And Matt, what is your backpack cipher name? Matthew Walther. Great namesake, but terrible journalist. So let's talk about that. He goes on actually to talk about how universities and corporations are actually taking advantage of the fact that esports are a commodity, which I can agree with. I can agree with that to an extent, that esports as a culture has a market. And because it has a market, of course, people are going to take advantage of it. But the points that Matthew brings up in this article from The Week is that while esports does require an alarming amount of dexterity, concentration, reflexes, things like that, because there's no physical exertion, it does not qualify as a sport. Now, I'm old school. I do agree to an extent that most sports do require physical exertion. So I will say this. This is how I will determine very sincerely if something is a sport or not. Has anybody ever died playing it?
Yes.
Because sport involves risk, right? And the answer to that question is absolutely. 2 people at least have died while in the act of playing a video game. Either due to exertion, exhaustion, and dehydration, a combination of eating the wrong food. And let's just talk about it, nerds. We don't eat the healthiest. A lot of times when we're gaming.
As you have a Rip It sitting right beside you.
I have no idea what you're talking about. This episode is most definitely not sponsored by Rip It.
But it can be
it can be for the right price. You could check out our Fiverr if you were looking for any type of advertising space. Rip It. I have been chugging your drinks for the last 3 or 4 years, at least on this show. So you guys should absolutely consider becoming a part of our sponsorship deal. Yeah. In the meantime, you don't get the cool logo. Okay. I'm just going to spin this sucker around like this. You get the back. You get the ingredients list because I'm not going to show it. I can't drink it that way. Dang it. I got to drink it.
But no, I mean, what you're saying, though, goes back to what the big stink that Cowhead.
Cowherd.
Yeah. The guy who can't play sports. So he just talks about them.
Agreed. I don't agree with everything that Colin Cowherd says, but I will say that he's fairly knowledgeable about sports. He's pretty on point. He's right, for the most part. He does have some outlandish takes.
He literally threw every cliche, every stereotype, talking about how
people live in their mom's basements.
Yeah, the people in your mom's baby, yada yada yada, eating Pop-Tarts and or Hot Pockets and.
Well, can we be honest about that one though?
I don't know what you're talking about. I'm allergic to all that stuff.
I eat Pop-Tarts while I play video games.
But
it's a quick handheld snack.
So the people who make more money playing games than he made being on TV.
Right.
Literally as he was chastising ESPN for having them on.
Yeah, for hosting esports, which again, and it does harken back to the point that Matthew Walther was making in his article, which is it has a market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And that is an invariable result of popularity. If something becomes popular, it will become marketable, period. If you just think back, most people that are watching this have experienced the last few years on this planet. Okay. You guys are perfectly aware of what has been going on.
Mm-hmm.
It is a profitable thing. What was one of the very first things that happened as a result of the COVID? Masks, right? That was the big thing. Got to wear a mask, right? So what erupted as a result of that? Look at the market for masks. It is outrageously crazy. I've got a Beard Guardian mask now that I can wear to work, and it does so that way I don't get cramps and stuff in my beard. I don't get crimps in my beard, so it's awesome. I love it. Shout out Beard Guardian, phenomenal.
You two can sponsor.
You two can sponsor us, man. Like seriously, you guys are amazing. But the market for that, it erupted. It became a profitable business to market and sell masks.
Right.
So that's
and everybody has masks.
Exactly. And that's an invariable result of popularity. And it's forefront of culture. So things like esports are 100% at the forefront of our culture. And because they're at the forefront of the culture, they're going to be capitalized on. ESPN was smart to get in on that market. And by proxy Disney, because let's be honest, that's actually who it is. But calling it not a sport because it doesn't fall under a specific classification of sport is exactly why I would not say. Here's what I would say. I will say it's a sport. I will not particularly call gamers athletic. I think that's fair.
Well, I mean, it's like saying, is badminton a sport?
Yes, it is. It does require physical exertion. It meets all the standard. That's what I will say. But in a realm, in a society where we are constantly changing the definition of things, why can't we just add one little thing under what qualifies as a sport?
Right. I mean, because it does take physical exertion. If you are ever tired trying to play a video game, just the level of concentration it takes.
Oh, I exhaust faster playing video games than I do anything else.
Yeah.
Which is crazy. I actually get more energy by burning energy. So if I'm outside chopping wood, if I'm outside painting, if I'm doing anything outside or even inside, like cleaning, anything like that, when I'm finished, I have more energy. I want to do more things. When I'm playing video games, that's the concentration, the focus level, most video games, not all of them, but most video games.
I mean, if you're playing like Leisure Suit Larry, then you're not going to be.
You're watching a narrative. You basically might as well be watching a movie at that point, an interactive movie, right?
Yeah,
so
CJ says, "Come on, curling is a sport."
Right. Thank you. And
cornhole is a sport now.
Okay, so hold on. Now we're getting into the realm of some crazy stuff, but there are leagues for these things, right?
Yeah.
There's a cornhole league. As a matter of fact, the Cornhole League of Anderson actually helped us with Black Book in the Park. They actually were willing to participate in that. We've been in talks with them since then about doing other stuff and collaborating with other projects. So I won't market everything as a sport. As I said, I think video games can be a sport, but you don't necessarily have to have athletes to play that sport.
Right. But you have to have something that athletes have. Dexterity,
concentration, focus, determination.
Yeah.
In order to be good, you have to have and drive. You have to have that.
And hand-eye coordination.
100%. And this is, they are just as much it is just as much a sport as darts. It is just as much a sport as even chess. Chess was officially recognized as an Olympic sport. Chess requires as much physical demand as literally pushing pieces across a board, right? It's as much as a board game.
CJ says breakdancing is now in the Olympics.
I'm 100% okay with breakdancing being in the Olympics. I think it's great because there's nothing that any problem in the world cannot be solved with a dance off. I firmly believe that. If more world wars were fought with dance offs, we would have lost both of them. First of all, because I've seen Russian dancers, and I'm like, sweet God,
like, how can you get your butt so low?
That's impossible. I can't do it. But I think limbo should be an Olympic sport too. I think we should just make the Olympics fun. Like just. I'm not even a big Olympics fan, but just can we just make it more fun?
Like the level of creaking these heads.
I absolutely can. I've been hearing it the whole time. Wasn't going to say anything. I was just going to keep on pushing through. But Matthew Walther, I do take exception. I understand the point that you're trying to make, man. But even this article is full of tropiness, right? It talks about wizard erotica, minarchism, anti arguments about racism and misogyny, which will bring us into our second topic here in just a few minutes.
Right.
And then he brings up Reddit as a part of that culture, and I'm like, first of all, let's go back because video games have existed since the 80s, and competitive video gaming has existed since the mid 90s.
No, it goes back to the 80s. There was
Donkey Kong tournaments and things like that, arcade sponsored tournaments. But
and remember the Wizard or whatever
the Wizard tournaments,
where you can go up and play freaking Super Mario or whatever. And,
I mean, there's an entire movie built on the premise of competitive video gaming, right? So while I do, like I said, I my final point to that is there is not a lot of athletics involved with video gaming, but it is most certainly a sport based in there are competitions that arise because of that. There are stakes on the line. There are championships involved. There's a market for it. And there does become this inevitable sportsmanship as a result of video gaming too. And it's something that honestly has united a lot of people, and people from all over the world can participate. So there's a World Cup of gaming. Sorry. It is what it is. It's a sport that lacks the recognition of a standard sport. That's it. But there are still leagues and things like that. So it is a sport. I hate to break it to Matthew Walther, no matter how much you rail against this. And apparently this article is from 2018. Why it just resurfaced, I have no idea. But anyways, this is from 2018. Apparently I finally got to the bottom of the little article, and there's the date and post date and all that. So it was edited recently. That's why. Okay. Well, that makes more sense. But again, things like that keep resurfacing, and we keep talking about it. So I just wanted to kind of give my thoughts and opinions on that. If you guys have any of your own, of course, you are more than welcome to join us in the chat room, much like CJ and Evan and others have done. Let us know how you feel about it. If you want to, if you're watching this after the fact, leave a comment in the section below in YouTube, right? And just tell us how you feel. We're more than happy to engage with you guys and have polite discourse. Try not to mudsling too much, but I understand that if this is a conversation about gamers, it's inevitably going to devolve into your mama jokes and some pretty outlandish statements. So
right, and then though, I mean, like, speaking of outlandish statements, that slides us right into
100%
the concept that that's back again.
again for like the 100th time.
That the toxicity levels in gaming are off the chart.
And I don't know where this keeps coming from.
It's from all of Madden bros sitting in their frat house,
right? And that's
playing games, doing all that, and becoming part of the community because it's cool. When they would literally other people who would be playing the games along with them, they laugh at, get picked on,
make fun of, and they picked them on high school and things like that. And it's the similarities of the D&D thing. Now, I don't believe in gatekeeping in any way. If you want to play video games, by all means, I don't care what walk of life you're from, play video games. But there is a noticeable disconnect between a casual, and we've had this on a previous episode, between casual and hardcore gaming, where I think most casual gamers, I think in a casual gaming environment, you're not going to find a tremendous amount of true misogyny. I don't believe that that's the case. I don't believe that.
Right.
I think when you get into the hardcore gaming, yes, there are people that are, those are the gatekeepers. Those are the ones that are like, oh, we're old guard, like that type. Sure. I can
what's
completely
funny, what's funny about like the old guard isn't even really that way, because they were the ones that were ostracized to begin with, when all of this, when it wasn't cool.
Well, I mean, I mean this in the gatekeeping sense that they were ostracized by a polite, this polite society. They literally became inclusive to themselves. And so any attempt by anyone, and I don't just mean from a level of a woman or a frat boy or whoever trying to get into that environment, it's quite literally, it could be any of those people, and there will be the toxicity from them because there's still that resentment. And it's mostly the older gamers. A lot of younger gamers that are hardcore gamers don't do that. There's not that presence there. But
well, no, it's there. It's the ones that are responsible for the swattings. It's the ones that are responsible for all of the shit, the crappy behavior that you see on those little clips or whatever, where the kids are just going nuts and crazy, and hacker scopes and telling people off and telling really like horrible jokes and all of that stuff. That's not the old guys sitting back. The old guys don't stream. The old guys just sit back and play video
games. No, I'm getting that, but that's what I'm saying. I think in the level of the casual gamer, which is kind of what I'm referring to, the casual gamers are the ones that you're going to find they're going to be more on the mobile apps, right? They're going to be more the mobile app type gamers. They're going to be the ones that are playing things like Horizon, right? The new one, Horizon New Dawn, I think is what it's called. This is the one that just came out, which is the sequel to the original Horizon game, and it was freaking amazing. It features a strong female lead. Nobody cares,
right?
Literally nobody cares. Right? I'd rather stare at the back of a digital, albeit digital, posterior of a member of the opposite sex, of which I'm attracted to, right, than a male butt all day long. Give me Lara Croft is one of the most successful. Now, there are other factors that play for that, but it's one of the most successful franchises of all time. So, is there a toxic masculinity level in video gaming? Yes, I do not think it's the critical mass that people are trying to make it appear to be. And I don't speak from a perspective of a woman.
It's what gets emphasized.
Right.
It happens 1 in a million times, and that 1 in a million times
gets amplified
gets
a million
talked
times.
about a million times. Then it's going to be everywhere.
Yeah, well, you will find what you look for.
Yeah.
And that's if you enter a video game environment, for instance, and you were expecting to be treated and trying to find, apparently the cat is screaming downstairs. He's very angry. But if you go into an environment and you expect to be treated to toxic masculinity and invite yourself to be treated with toxic masculinity, a lot of times people they don't care about you, and there's an anonymity to the internet and gaming.
Yeah, no,
that
and
people don't care.
That's
they really don't care about
you. Like, especially with people, I'm talking from one generation above you, and I'm talking about one generation below you. They don't care. They will say whatever it takes to get you either to shut up and go away, which I think a lot of the stuff is, said just because they're like, whatever, just maybe if I say something
outrageous, they'll leave.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, there's a shock value. There's definitely a shock element to gaming.
My favorite one was the female gamer who just owned this kid or whatever, and she said something like, "Oh, why don't you go make a sandwich or something?" And she's like, "I'm going to go and get with your dad and give him a child he'll really love."
Yeah, and that's hilarious to me.
And everybody was like, "Oh, damn!"
Yeah, it's just learn the lingo, learn to talk crap back, and that's the thing. It's like,
because if you listen to a bunch of male friends sitting back.
God,
talk like you and me. Like, how many times do I send you TikToks where it's just somebody running up and saying, "Bitch,
hey, screw you." Obviously, the other expletive in that particular category, but no, and it's that's the thing is there's a males especially, and this goes into some psychology here. So I'm trying not to lose you guys. There is a particular bonding between friends, and it generally revolves around talking garbage to each other. But at the same time, if an outside force comes in doing the same thing, we're the first ones to jump in there and be like, hey, no, that's my kid sister. That's
right.
That's my friend. You don't get to talk to them.
No, it's just like
that.
Don.
Right.
When, I can talk smack to him or whatever and irritate him and make him go, "Rrr."
Right.
And then when I see somebody post something on his thing that, I know I'm joking, I'm picking on him, I'm doing whatever. I can't read that into somebody else's. And it's like immediately going, we need to squash this. Like, this needs to be,
right. And so it's that type of thing. Like, what type of experience are you looking to have? And of course, it's there's the number 23. The entire movie is based on the premise of if you look for something, you'll find it. Right. It's like the number 23 is everywhere. Yeah, and it's true. I challenge anybody out there to spend 24 hours specifically looking for the number 23. In any instance that you find yourself, try to find the number 20. There's 23 books on the shelf, right? You will find
whatever
hundreds.
you do not watch old Bulls games.
Oh yeah, that doesn't count. That's not fair. Don't think of a white bear, right?
To quote our movie.
To quote the movie, right? To quote the award-winning movie. That's how you gotta put that in there. So yeah, so nerds out there, if you guys are being toxic, especially to members of the opposite sex, I'm not a white knight for anybody. I think people can deal with themselves, but
there's
understand your audience, know your audience.
Yeah,
just
there's two
cater
things.
to that. That's
two
all.
things. One, don't like the two rules are don't be a dick.
Yep.
And the second rule is if it's a joke, it's not a dick. Don't take it so hard.
100%. Right. And I understand that. Well, a lot of people say things as well. I'm just kidding. Okay. So now you're a mind reader? Well, they weren't kidding. How do you know? You're a mind reader now? Well, you could tell by their intent. Oh, okay. So you're a mind reader. Okay. Yeah. Okay.
You can tell by their intent.
Sherlock
like,
Holmes.
how can you tell their intent?
Right.
Especially when 90% of the stuff that gets blasted across is all taken out of context.
Mm-hmm.
It literally is. It could be. There was an episode where somebody was saying, "Don't say this."
What's up, Cal? Sorry, I saw his name will pop up.
So don't say this. They removed the "don't say" and said, look,
right.
He said this.
Exactly, and it's all part of that culture, right? So that is why it's super important. Number one, always remember that no matter what you put on the internet, it stays there forever. You'll never truly delete it. Number two, just be mindful. Like I said, read the room. I tell my kids this all the time. They like to joke around. They like to be sarcastic. I mean, for crying out loud, look who their dad is. They like to be funny. And I have to tell them constantly, I have to remind them, read the room. When I'm being serious, it's not the time to joke with me. So if somebody is giving you like a serious issue, you don't have to respond. You don't have to. So if somebody comes into a chat and they're talking a whole bunch of nonsense you don't want to hear, most video games, almost every single one that you play now, it's got a cool little thing called mute. And you just go, beep, and you don't have to hear a dang word they say. And they're like, why aren't you talking to them? You're talking stuff I don't want to respond to. I don't feel like having conversation about that.
Or
like, I'm literally trying to enjoy my game, not talk about world affairs.
Block.
Yeah, block.
I do that
all the time, man. I play video games for escapism, not to reflect on the culture that I'm currently living in.
It's like
I don't care.
WoW chat.
Leave me alone.
Like WoW chat or Barons in WoW they got Barons chat that used to pop up that literally was some of the weirdest wrong stuff ever to be put onto the thing, it literally like was an e-funked
that and furries.
chat room.
Like there's I guess there's 3 rules, right? Don't read the room, don't be a dick, don't be a furry. That's it. Those are the rules. I had to add that because
Hey Evan, tell everybody we said hey at where you're DJing.
oh, right on, man. Yeah. he's got to go DJ. He's got to go do his job, I guess. Do my job. See, there, prime example. Evan is a friend, and I'm sitting there going on a literal podcast, talking mad,
mad crap,
just talking crap. Like more people are gonna see me talking crap to him than there you go. Fuck you, Evan. So. But yeah, so let's get on some positive stuff, right? Because I don't want to. We're drawing the room down. I don't want to do that. Yeah, toxic masculinity is real. That is a thing. People do it,
right? But
if you go out looking for it, you're sure to find it. If you want to surround yourself with people that make you feel better and make you feel good, and a good core, great gaming group of people like I have found with Fallout 76, right?
I'm still looking for that. I can't even people coming over to my house still is causing me problems.
Mr. Jeff De Producer. Glad to see you, buddy.
Why are you telling people not to be a furry when we know that's what you do on the weekend?
Listen.
Again, prime example.
How dare you be toxic masculine to me? I have at these. Anyways, so you have been
ADD hyperfixating
on pie
for the last week.
Warm pie.
If you have been checking out the reels that I've been putting up,
on our TikTok,
on TikTok, on Instagram, stuff like that.
Which is a great segue into one thing.
What?
Make sure you check out all of our social media pages on TikTok, on Facebook, on Twitter. Make sure you give us all a follow at Free Geek Radio. If you guys look around this little thing that we got here, you'll see all of our socials. Make sure to give us a like and a follow. All right, go ahead. Raspberry Pie.
So it all started with
raspberry pie. Oh, that doesn't work.
It all started with I was trying to find something to do to tie our gaming sessions and making things more
streamlined and efficient.
Yeah, in a sense of like when we set dates, having a visual thing there that like dates can be chosen and everybody can agree on, and then we can all do this whatever need to be done. And that sent me to the digital dashboard, which a Raspberry Pi is perfect for a digital dashboard.
Agree.
I put one together. I put it in the game room, and then we had one game, and I decided that I got tired of walking from the other side of the house back into the game room to always look at the calendar, so I moved it.
And by other side of the house, he literally means one room away.
Well, it's literally other side of the house.
He has a rolling chair. He could literally just whee! And then just look over and he could see it. All he had to do was like you just I was thinking about that. All you had to do is rotate the wall. just rotate it off the wall. Anyways, go ahead. I'm breaking your balls. Go ahead. Oh my god, weird.
But no, so like I got that put together and I was like,
Chris,
okay, this is cool.
Topher, I'm sorry, I was so toxic.
I was like, I put this together and I was like, okay, this is so cool. I saw the dashboard thing. I ran all the code I got stuck in coding. And while I was doing this, I happened to cross another podcast or another YouTuber, Network Chuck, and he was talking about all of the stuff that his trip into, ethical hacking, his, like
white hat,
CCNAs, CCNBs, like, and he literally putting up all of these how-to videos and classes.
But like I've seen a couple of them too. Like you shared them with me, and I was like, these look really cool. This looks like something we can do. So
yeah. So I mean, that spun me into setting up. Geek Public Radio now has an 800 or 866 number.
An IVR, baby.
Yeah, that literally will spin through all of the stuff that GP Network is responsible for. You can go through and leave messages. You can contact us directly. You can do all of that stuff. When we get the IVR, the actual voicemail system set up, it's halfway there. We just got to finish it. But we do have the number. It will be up in the next week or so.
I'm very excited about that.
That spun me into setting up a Raspberry Pi NAS.
I'm trying to get to the chat. I can't remember how to get there.
Well, that's on Facebook.
That's right. Thank you.
At least they are on Facebook.
No, I got it. We're good. Keep going.
So like I built a Raspberry Pi NAS and connected the drive to it, and now all of the stuff for the station lives on a NAS downstairs, plugged into the router. And then from there, I went and realized that, oh crap, I need to redo my network. So using the Raspberry Pi and Linux and all of this other stuff, I kind of cobbled together a whole load balancing network thing and did all this stuff. And like, I literally just went hyper fixated to the point where, if you can slide that over to me.
Yeah. Here, you can talk about it while I show it.
I even went ahead and like put this thing together.
It's pretty. I know there's the ring light in the background. You guys just got to deal with it. Like, check this thing out. This thing is dope. Look at that. Look at that.
What so that pretty. Is a Raspberry Pi with a 7-inch touchscreen that I got all together. That has a built-in webcam right there.
It's pretty awesome. I'm super, super, super excited about it.
And on it right now is running Kali Linux, and so that runs literally off of one of those battery cell things that you plug in to extend your, like, if you can't charge your phone, whatever, you plug it into that little battery cell and it charges your phone. You run your phone. That will run the Pi. And I could go anywhere with Kali Linux and do the Kali Linux stuff, for those who know what Kali Linux is. Anywhere.
See, part of me is wondering if the phone that I'm about to get, I wonder if I could take the 22 Ultra and put Linux on that bill and then just.
I wouldn't do it to a brand new one. I would take the one that you got and
yeah, but I think that one only has like 8 gigs of RAM on it. I would really.
This only has. This
6?
is a 2 gigs of RAM. The one I got coming in the mail.
All right.
Here's the great thing. If you watch the videos and whatnot, you've seen a video of me going through how I made our live broadcast coffin and like all of the cool stuff.
And it's exactly that too. It looks so amazing. I'm so excited for this thing.
I even went one step further and figured out how to broadcast from a brand new Raspberry Pi 4 or the 4 gig 64-bit brand new ones that are out. They're expensive as shit because they're running out. There's almost every place is sold out. If you can find one,
there's a silicon shortage coming really soon. The silicon chip shortage, the superconductor shortage.
So like, it's one of those things that's like literally it's $150 to find one of these now, when it was originally $35, $45 for these things. Which is frustrating that I'm now hyper fixating on this stuff, and it's
expensive.
It's expensive.
It's more expensive than it was anyway.
Right. If I would have been thinking ahead, I would have just bought a back haul of them and like have those pies on the shelf somewhere and be like, oh, I have an idea.
Look at all these pies I have.
But so
it's a wonderful day for pie.
looking at the stuff, like you can run OBS.
Shout out to anybody doing that.
You can run OBS on the newer Pi and it not have issues. And we can literally run the same setup we do on our big computer on a Raspberry Pi that lives in the case. So basically, you open it up, plug it in, you're done.
Plug it in. I have like so many commercials going through my head right now. Like, I don't know why. They're just there. But to be quite honest with you, I'm more excited for the potential of the road trips that we're going to be doing. So this might be one of the situations where I look at you guys and I'm like, Geek Public Radio coming to a city near you, like, and actually go to a town and even like go to like somebody's house and just do it just for funsies.
Well, the great thing is
literal mobile interviews.
Right. And and the coolest part about that is because it's mobile Pi like that. Yeah. You can literally just open up a Wi-Fi on your phone, connect to it, and just like the laptop, but you don't even have to worry about lugging the laptop. You don't even have to worry about any of that other stuff. The way we have the big computer set up is the same way we would set the Pi up, and it would be easy.
Yeah.
Because it's got 2 USB 3s, it's got 2 USB 2s. So there's 4 inputs right there. You could run 2 cameras, the board, and a dongle for wireless keyboard and mouse.
Right. And just being able to do those specific things is going to make our life so much easier. And so while I always, and this is the greatest part about like when you do stuff is like, I feel like I always have to like pull you back a little bit. Like, no, too far. You're like, no, dude, I can wire like my whole house and my lights and my car, and I can do everything. I can take over the world. I'm like, no, shh, back up.
No, what's funny is if I did have the money, I could wire up the house because of the way I did the load balancer.
See,
and I separated out the network.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. He's going to start in on this. He's never going to stop.
I am so close to like just saying screw it and like trying to get my CCNAs, Cisco certified network.
I know what you meant. Yeah.
Because I'm looking at so much stuff that I can do, and like I said, hyperfixation. Give me like once all of this kind of rolls through, and I find the next thing to hyperfixate about. All this stuff will already be done, and we have cool stuff.
Yeah.
And it's already set up, and we can build on it even further.
And I like the setup that we had, but it was so bulky and ridiculous trying to set up at conventions and other things, and actually trying to do shows from like, so we always talk about like we would do these shows from Gen Con, or we would do a show from Hoosier Con or from Days of the Dead. And a lot of times we'd get videos and stuff like that out, but we couldn't do like live shows because you have a minimal amount of booth space. And trying to get all that equipment in that space was a nightmare. So now we're at a point where when we go to these conventions, when we go to
we're no longer 7 Mary 3.
We're no longer cumbersome.
Yeah.
Right. Got it. Okay. Now track it. You slipped it in there. And I was like, 7 Mary 3. Why does he talk? Oh, no, I got you now. All right. We're tracking. But yeah, we now have a mobile setup. And the coolest part about it is we don't need Wi-Fi. We can run off. Well, I mean, we need Wi-Fi, but we can run off of a hotspot. We can
our phones
just, for the phones, just from anywhere, and even just get like a Verizon Fios or something like that, where we have a mobile hotspot with us that is just specific for the business, right?
Right.
Then it'd be great. And just, I'm very excited about the future of Geek Public Radio, and we are always making and doing and making moves. We're always trying to do that. So it is awesome when you hyperfixate. But at the same time, I'm like, we gotta pace ourselves, buddy. You gotta pace yourself.
Well, it's one of those things
you gotta act like that thing in your chest and just pace yourself, buddy.
Well, it's one of those things. Is like I know I have to ride the road. I just have to ride it because, when I lose it, it's not going like if it's halfway finished, it's never going to get finished.
Right. Well, that's ADHD.
Yeah,
so that's 100% what ADHD is.
I'm writing the hyperfixation and finishing projects.
But that's also why I have. That's why I stress to you to pace, because I also have ADHD, and I have learned. It's like when we went all gung ho into Sunday Night Madness, right? And we were burning the candle at both ends, man, and we were firing on all cylinders, and it was wonderful. And then it faded out. And then I got burnt out, and I was like, how did that happen? I love that show. I loved doing that show. What happened? And I had to sit back and I had to take a hard look at myself. I had to be critical and say, you did too much, too fast. And instead of pacing the cell, that's what we're doing with GPR, pacing ourselves, going at it at our own pace. Do I want a million subs? Yes. Is it going to happen overnight? No, there has to be work involved.
Right.
So we have to pace ourselves, and we have to go through and do that. And that's the only way that I can stay involved, because if I go both feet in, I'll get burned out in a month and I won't do anything else. And then it'll sit on the shelf and I won't finish it. And I don't want to do that.
Right.
So I hate being the more measured one, because I'm the impulsive, out of control, let's go drinking and set something on fire person. That's me.
Well,
but with this, I'm like, I can't set anything on fire.
Well, the cool thing is a lot of the stuff, these are small. Like when I get tired of having
14 Raspberry Pis,
Kali Linux on a tablet, which is pretty much what this kind of
no
together.
Call it what it is. It's what it is.
when I get tired of having Cali Links there, I can literally plug my USB game controller in and flash RetroPie and play like everything. Play video games like Atari.
What you have is a modified Switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That plays up to the PlayStation 2 games. Right. Like that's how far up it'll go. Like Dreamcast, Sega, the whole.
Right.
The whole.
Which is why a lot of people, when they were talking about retro systems, are like, just get a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
Like just literally get a Raspberry Pi and just play all the games you want.
So I could be bored sitting at a place, like just pull us out of my backpack and
start playing games.
Hook up.
Like, what are you doing? Playing Legacy of Kain. I actually found something out about a friend of mine, by the way, speaking of Kain.
For that dumb reason. I played all the way through Soul Reaver. Only to find out it was an ad. The whole thing was an advertisement for the next Legacy of Kain.
Yeah.
Yep. Like, fighting. Okay, I got all the way to the end, and like I'm gonna finally beat Kain. No, he jumps in the thing, and you follow through, and now it goes to the next Legacy of Kain game.
Yep. It's beautiful.
2 days.
Speaking of 2 days, I'm like 2 days away from finally beating Breath of the Wild. Like I have played through it so many times. I've done all this different stuff. And I'm finally getting to the point, like I'm trying to beat it as quickly as possible, but as efficiently as possible at the same time. Like I don't want to walk in there at the end of the boss and just get my butt kicked. So because I'm playing through that game right now, I haven't really been playing 76 a whole lot. And I recognize it because it'll be like midnight and I have to work the next morning. And I'm like, crap, I can't jump on 76 right now because if I do, I'll be on it for maybe half an hour. I won't get anything done. And I want to stay up till like 3 or 4 in the morning. I can't do that. So to all my friends out there, guys, I apologize that I haven't been on, but Zelda. The princess needs me. But yeah, I'm actually just like right at the end of the game and I just need to finish it off and be done. But it's such an immersive experience, not immersive, but it's such a wonderful experience. I'm like just dragging my feet because once it's over, and I'm not going to want to play through it again for a while. But anyways, so back to Raspberry Pi because that Breath of the Wild, you can't play that on Raspberry Pi.
Actually, I think you can. If you have the right emulator. That's all it is an emulator. So if you can emulate it for a computer,
I don't think the RAM on that would support it. I mean, it's only 720p. Like it's not a 1080 game. It's not a 4K game or anything like that. Like
no, what I was saying is like it goes up to the.
I don't know. That's a curious question. If anybody has the answer for that, feel free to leave a comment below. I'm actually curious. That'd be cool. But yeah, while he's looking at that, I'll give a quick shout out to our sponsor, horrorpress.com, an actual fantastic spot where you can join different boards. You can discuss various horror mediums, movies, comics, TV shows, anything like that. It's a phenomenal place for fans of horror movies, horror games, and things like that alike that can actually get together and be able to connect with one another in an environment where they are with like-minded people, right? So it's not like just joining a random post on somebody's Facebook where they're like, oh, I've seen the new Halloween, it's great. And then you comment and you're like, oh, well, I had some questions about it and blah, blah, blah. And then you get attacked by a bunch of strangers, right? While that still might happen at horrorpress.com, at least you know that the people that are there with you have at least have some modicum of knowledge about the subject matter as opposed to just random guy that Googled something on the internet. So horrorpress.com, thank you guys so much for sponsoring the show. We really do appreciate that. So for all of you guys out there that would like to connect with those type of people who enjoy horror movies as much as we do, up to and including the fact that we made an award-winning horror movie called Black Book, you guys can check that out and feel free to absolutely join a discussion board regarding the Black Book. Start your own. We need a fan club. That's the next step. Like we have an award-winning director. I acted in an award-winning movie, so yeah, there's something to hang my hat on. But horrorpress.com, you guys have been absolutely phenomenal. So thank you so very much to horrorpress.com. Check them out for all of your awesome horror needs. For those toxic men out there.
Yeah, made by horror fans for
horror fans. I knew there was a tagline. I just couldn't remember what it was. And I was like, I'll see if I can get away with it. But yeah. And of course, always Relish Productions. Thank you guys. We really do appreciate you. Mr. Don always having something for us, always keeping us busy, always making us to move
In fact,
forward.
payment for one of my things was the Raspberry Pi that's coming.
See,
So
there you go.
on Tuesday, he's feeding the addiction.
He does that. He's like every time he's like, "Oh, you want a toy? I got you." Ha ha ha. I would call him your sugar daddy, but that's just weird and creepy. And
Right.
I will say it to his face though. The next time I see him, I'm gonna be like, "What's up, sugar daddy?"
Well, at the convention, he was like, "Oh, here's this directional
Yeah.
thing that follows your whatever."
Yeah,
So-
the camera that moves around like follows it, tracks you. The tracker. That's what's
yeah.
yeah. So that's
So
wait a
when
minute,
we
he bought you a tracker.
So when we do lives or whatever from our phones at conventions, we literally just sit that on there and it follows our head movement.
It's awesome. I really did appreciate that particular toy, honestly. But yeah, so for Rutledge Productions, guys, rutledgeproductions.com, thank you guys so much. And of course, all of you guys out there, go to blackbook.com where you can check out the latest from the producer director of the Black Book. You can buy your own DVD, your Blu-ray copy of the film, the award-winning film. You can get your hands on the book, and if you are so inclined and you would love to hear my melodious voice coming through your ear holes at all hours of the night, you can download the Audible version as well, of which I am the voice. So make sure you go to blackbook.com for those particular needs. And of course, always daysandnightsbooks.com for your gaming accessory needs, miniatures, game books, accessories, anything like that you have a hankering for.
There is rumor that BattleTech has actually become available, so we should be able to have them in the store here soon.
All right, so Days and Nights book will be also featuring some BattleTech stuff for you. So if anybody was looking forward to some BattleTech gear, you can find it on daysandnightsbooks.com. That's days with a Z, nights with a K, and N, just the letter N, the one that comes after M and before O. daysandnightsbooks.com. Check them out. And if you become a member of geekpublicradio.com, you get 10% off your order from Days and Nights Books. So there is all kinds of amazing things for you guys to check out. Now, well, let's see. What else do I got? There's one I'm forgetting. Bearded branding. Why do I always forget the one that I'm literally pictured on? All right. So bearded branding. If you guys would like to feature your product, yourself, your art, any medium that you have, you guys can check us out at beardedbranding.com. We have launched, along with several other artists, musicians, and websites, to help create the look and feel that you're going for. We help you build your social media platforms. We help get your message out there to everybody around you. Basically, if you have any questions or concerns about how to make your image as broad as possible, that is what we are here at beardedbranding.com to do. So if you guys would like any assistance with that, make sure you go to beardedbranding.com where we can help launch you into the next level of your business and help get you off the ground if you're just starting. So for newcomers and for veterans alike, beardedbranding.com has everything that you could possibly need. And one of the cool benefits is if you are a musician and you would like a music video shot, we can do that as well. That is a package that we offer at beardedbranding.com.
As well as getting you your music played
on a radio station.
On a couple of radio stations. We have reaches out to different internet-based
Shout out
platforms.
to London. Shout out to London. Sorry.
But we do have several other places that we can help get your music into and get it played on the internets.
Absolutely. So that is something to consider, and you can find that information at beardedbranding.com. And if you guys would like to get a hold of us, you can do that there. All right. And as I've already mentioned before, make sure you check out all the socials that we have available for you at freegeekradio.com on Twitter, Geek Public Radio on YouTube and Facebook. I was getting
Instagram.
And Instagram. That's right. I forgot. I thought it was at Free Geek Radio. That's right. You are correct. So geekpublicradio.com on most socials, and then at Free Geek Radio on Twitter, on the tweeters.
At the twatter.
On the twatter.
And Geek Public Radio on TikTok.
Ah, that's right. Yes. Make sure you check us out on TikTok too, where you can find out what he's been up to with his pie.
Oh, have pie.
Oh, pie. We love pie around here at Geek Public Radio. That was gross. That was gross. Nope. Cut.
But thank you for hanging out with us. We had a lot of fun.
Yeah, I think we talked about some fun stuff, man. Just to recap, man, our gamers athletes, let us know in the comment section below. Not athletes, our gamers Are games a sport? Can you play games competitively in a sports environment? Toxic masculinity in games, and of course, all of the love for the pie. Make sure you leave your comments in the comment section down below. Once again, like the video if you haven't already, and consider subscribing to the podcast as well. We look forward to speaking to you guys next week. I've been Crazy Chris.
I've been Topher.
Peace.
You've been listening to the GPR podcast, where two old guys talk about old. Talk about new games, movies, most things geeky, and try not to poop in their diapers while they're talking. Thanks for listening to the show. We'll be back soon. But in the meantime, find us on Twitter at Free Geek Radio, on Facebook and Instagram at Geek Public Radio, and the website geekpublicradio.com. We'll see you next time.